Hello, friends. Welcome to the weekly edition of Multiverse, where we discuss about the latest happenings and universe facts in our program. And all are welcome because we are live, and you can use the chat function in your social media platforms wherever you are, whichever social media you are watching us from. You can actually interact with us. Send your comments throughout this program. And today in Multiverse, we are discussing about the super Earths, and we will discuss why super Earth planets are more suitable for developing civilizations, intelligent lives, and why it is so, and why super Earth are different from Earth, and why they are much conducive platform for harboring intelligent life and advanced civilization. So let's go ahead and understand what are super Earth in the first place. So super Earth is a planet, a rocky planet, just like an Earth, but much larger than Earth. And we have found that there are more super Earth found in the universe than the Earth-sized planet. So Earth-sized planet are not a rule but an exception. But super Earth rocky planets are much more profound, and they are found everywhere, even in our neighborhood. When we look around and in the neighboring solar systems, we find that most of the rocky planets are much larger in size, at least twice the size of Earth, to up to 8 times. And after 8 times, then the boundary of rocky planet starts to fade away. So if there are heavier planets, they will turn into gas giants, just like Uranus and Neptune. But super Earth will remain terrestrial planet as long as they are much larger than Earth, up to the size of 8 times that of Earth. So I think that is a clear distinction when we call about super Earth. It's like larger planet than Earth, and uh, it has rocky surface. It may have water. It may have a lot of atmosphere. So I think this is where the distinction comes, and why super Earth are definition of super Earth and how they are different from Earth. Now let us understand Earth itself. Earth is a fairly large rocky planet in our solar system. In fact, it is the largest rocky planet in our solar system. And when we say rocky planet, there are four rocky planets inside the four rocky inside of the solar system, and the external four other planets are the gaseous giant, which is Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. So, out of these four terrestrial planets, Earth is the largest of them. I mean, we can say that Venus is a twin sister of Earth, but the difference between Venus and Earth is about 10%. So, Earth is 10% bigger than the Venus, and Earth is rotating in the habitable zone around the central star, which is Sun. And because of the habitable zone, the peculiar thing that happens in this area is that the water uh, can exist in all three forms, and that is required for developing complex life. So you have water in the form of ice, in the form of water vapor or steam, and also in the form of liquid. And that creates a concoction, it creates an environment for various chemistry to happen, various types of different types of chemistry to happen. So Earth is right in the middle of the habitable zone. And the further other facts about Earth is that it is a mid-size, it's not a super Earth, it is a smaller planet. And the gravity of Earth, even though it is the largest of the rocky planets, the gravity of the Earth cannot hold uh, the hydrogen and helium gas on Earth. That means the gravity is sufficient to hold everything else onto the Earth, but hydrogen and helium, if they are released in the atmosphere, they will escape out into the space. Although there is a lot of hydrogen found trapped in rock, in water. Water is basically H2O, which is hydrogen and oxygen. But in the atmosphere, the hydrogen and helium gases cannot exist. They will simply rise above, and gravity cannot hold them, and they will escape into the outer space. Now, in a long run, if the heat increases, the water will also become steam, and when the steam rises up in the atmosphere, there, because of the cosmic rays and the solar radiation, the water molecule is broken down into oxygen and hydrogen. Oxygen remains in the atmosphere, hydrogen escapes. So this is a gradual process which happens on Earth even today as we speak. Now let's talk about the biosphere. Now the biosphere is the biology, the biology that is permitted on Earth. So you can see in this picture that the biology is possible only a very small area in the Earth. So even though Earth is a very substantial planet with a lot of resources, but the biology or the life that is found on Earth is limited to certain areas where the situation is much more conducive for producing life. And I will actually explain what is life, etc., in the next slide. Now, if you see on the green side, on the picture, the green picture talks about the biomass, how much mass that life form has on Earth. And the largest biomass that plant are the plants, which is there are several species of plants, and they are found floating on the ocean water. They are also found near the shores, and they are definitely found in the terms of forests, etc. So the plant species have the highest biomass, followed by bacteria. So the next life form is bacteria, and after that is a fungi. So fungi is also a substantial life form on Earth, and animals form only the last 2% of the entire biosphere of Earth. So that means Earth as a planet supports life in the form of viruses and plants. Earth as a planet is more conducive for bacteria, plants, and fungi, etc., because they are the highest number of life forms that we find on Earth, not the animals. But if you just talk about animals itself, then the largest animal group is the arthropods, which are insects, which forms nearly majority of the life, like ants and other insects. So if you look at the Earth as a planet which can support life, we think as humans that we are the supreme life form, but it is not. If you look at Earth as a planet, it supports the environment on Earth is more conducive for plants, bacteria, and for insects, not for mammals, because they are less in numbers. So that is the first fact about Earth. Earth is, if you look around other planets, Earth can be compared to a backwater planet which supports more life in terms of plants and bacteria and insects. Now this is a larger picture where I'm giving a bird's eye view of the planet. You can see that in this picture there is the planet itself is huge, but the biosphere is or the life is found only in the green patches that you see around the Earth. So roughly 2 kilometers in the atmosphere. After that you will not find anything living, and probably 1 kilometer underground. So the diameter of Earth is 12,000 kilometers. However, life can be found only in the 4 kilometer or 3 kilometer narrow band where everything exists, including plants, insects, viruses, bacteria, etc., and also humans and animals. So it's a very small area on Earth, even though we are in the habitable zone and we have a lot of resources on Earth, but a very narrow band supports life, and anything else is not conducive for life. So even though we are a habitable zone, we need certain conditions for life to evolve. We know that, we have done a lot of research for last 200 years. We know that where life exists and where life does not exist. And that brings us to the discussion around the super Earth. Now super Earth, as I said, is a bigger planet. It's a rocky planet. It is a bigger planet. So if we find a super Earth in the habitable zone in any other solar system, the chances are this planet will have water in all three forms because of the temperature. If the temperature is just right so that water can exist in all three of its natural form, which is liquid, gas, and solid also in the form of ice. And if there is a super earth which will have water, it will allow chemistry to happen. Now, why super earth may be more conducive to for life, and also faster permutation combination, because it will have more gravity on the size of the planet will be larger, and consequently it will have more gravity on that planet, and because of that it will be able to hold all elements including hydrogen and helium into its atmosphere. So you will have a lot of hydrocarbons on the surface, but you will also have a lot of hydrocarbons floating around in the atmosphere also, because there will be hydrogen there, and the atmosphere will be much thicker. So the super earth and habitable zone will allow the life permutation combination to happen not only on the land or in the shallow waters, but also in the atmosphere, because of the higher gravity and more material available on that planet. So that is the first logic of why super earth may be more conducive for complex life. Now, when we talk about super earth, what type of life it can support? Obviously, if super earth type planet, for example, if you look at the earth, the life evolved only in last 600 million years. So earth's age is about 4.5 billion years. Only 600 million years we have seen life, and before that the situation for life was not conducive. It was too acidic, very hot, and earth was cooling down, especially this green area that I have shown you in the previous picture. Whereas the super earth will be able to retain temperature for a longer time, and it will not be entirely dependent on its native star. And because of that it will have much bigger, higher pressure. Because of the atmospheric pressure, it will form a much bigger life form. Most of the life form will be much bigger, because the pressure of the atmosphere will also be very high. So the life form on a larger planet will evolve into a giant, into a beast, and the bodies will be much more stronger, because they will have to hold a much thicker atmosphere on their head. And to enable this gigantism, they will also have a lot of material available in the planet itself. So the life form will be much bigger, much stronger, much stouter, and very, very strong. So that is the first difference between life on Earth and life on a bigger Earth. And when we talk about the bigger life form, there will be more oxygen on super Earth. And what we have seen in the past is that whenever there is more oxygen in a planet, the extra oxygen creates gigantism. It has happened with on Earth also, when the oxygen was 35% in the atmosphere. It created large beasts like dinosaurs, huge dinosaurs during Jurassic Age. And once the dinosaurs died away, the mammals became very huge. We had huge mammals like even today we have whales, which are the largest animal ever found on Earth. And these are all happened because of the extra oxygen available in the atmosphere. Right now the oxygen levels are about 20-21%, but at one point of time it was 35%. So on a larger planet like a super, which is like twice the size or 3 times the size of Earth, there will be more oxygen. That will lead to gigantism. That means the blood will be more efficient in transferring oxygen into the deeper part of the body. So first of all, the bodies of these animals will be much larger. The atmospheric pressure will be much greater, which will support bigger life form on that planet. And at the same time, there will be more oxygen on the planet, which will allow larger animals and birds and other species to breathe appropriately and also survive. So these are the differences between Earth and a super Earth planet. And because of the higher atmospheric pressure, it will create sort of an ocean type environment in the atmosphere. For example, I talked about the blue whale or whales, which are much larger animals. They have grown larger because they exist in water. Although they are the air breathing animals, they have the lungs. They are not the fish. They look like fish, but they are not fish. They are mammals. They breathe air. But they have become larger because their bodies are supported by uh, water, and hence they don't have to move around on the land, and therefore they can grow larger and they can actually use the excess oxygen which is available in the atmosphere. So similar thing will happen if there are uh, thicker atmosphere. The large bird type creatures will evolve on a larger planet, because on Earth birds are typically small. But if the atmosphere is thick, because when during the Jurassic time we had huge birds, flying lizards, taking as big as F-16 aeroplanes flying at that point in time. So a larger planet will have thicker atmosphere, hence it will support more complex and much bigger life form on that planet. And when we talk about complex life, and if there are ocean on the large planet, the ocean will become cauldron of all the permutation combinations which are possible, which is allowed by chemistry, and therefore it has taken the DNA to evolve over eons on Earth. That reaction or that combination may happen faster because there is more material available, and the chemical reaction will be much quicker than Earth. So if there is a giant planet in the habitable zone larger than Earth, life will evolve quicker on the planet and will evolve into much more complex being than what we have on Earth. So remember I said Earth has more plants and bacteria and insects, and not so many animals. So animal life is only 2%. When we talk about animal life, it's basically including insects. Is only 2%. More life exists in the form of plants. On a larger planet, there will be much bigger plants, much complex DNA, much complex life forms. They will basically evolve into a much stronger, much larger beings, and who knows, they also quickly evolve into a alien intelligent species which can build a larger spaceship, and they may also evolve quicker into becoming a galaxy faring civilization. So these are the possibilities of larger planet, larger terrestrial rocky planet in the habitable zone. And that is why I am talking about why super Earth may harbor life, much more complex life, maybe much more conducive for intelligent species to evolve much quicker as compared to Earth, because Earth looks like a backwater planet which supports more plant life and insect life, not complex life or intelligent life. And the materials which are available on Earth are, although they are more than other planets, but then they are not as much in abundance as a super Earth. That is why super Earth planets may harbor more complex life. Now, friends, I would like to also pick your mind on what we see and find out when we look around in this space. I think the biggest thing that we look at when we look around is that if the sun, like star, and a super Earth like planet, again, is not the ideal combination for intelligent civilization to evolve, because the evolution takes it has own process, and it has some certain speed at which it evolves. So, and it is basically based on the natural selection. So if there are more complex life, if you go to Amazon forest, there are more species there because there is more competition for resources in Amazon as compared to Sahara desert, because there are hardly anybody there. There is no life there. So if there is a super Earth with lot of time given to super Earth for evolution, it will evolve into a much complex ecosystem and a lot of species on that planet. So the ideal combination is a smaller star, not as big as sun, with a lifespan of about 80 to 90 billion, because our sun can live up to only 10 billion years. So 80 to 90 billion years of life if the star is having a slightly smaller star, and a super Earth in a habitable zone is the ideal combination to look for alien civilization. And that is what the one of the target for James Webb Space Telescope would be, to look at a smaller star and a larger planet combination in the habitable zone. So friends, this is an interesting subject, and I can go on, and I'm sure you also know about these things. If you have any opinion, you can send in your messages, and otherwise, I will meet you same time next Thursday with Multiverse, with some other interesting subject about the universe and our space. So as always, thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.